Welcome to Our Jewish Roots. Faith unshakable, faith unstoppable, faith of our fathers.
There was a struggle in Bible days with Moses, with the Egyptians, in our own history, a struggle, colonial America with the British overlords. In fact, if you look at the history, and it's forgotten in so many ways today because people want to reinvent history and divest it of its biblical moorings, but the imagery of the Israelites with their fight against the Egyptians and they're being led to the new world with the Shekhinah, with the Shekinah. Remember the cloud that led and the fire, how God led these displaced persons from one world, they crossed the sand to the new world. Well, those that came here to this new world, they didn't cross the sand, they crossed the sea, but the imagery really resonated with them.
It has taken considerable faith to have declared our independence.
I do have faith, sir, but I still keep my windows closed, lest a loyalist see my efforts on behalf of the Patriots.
Mr. Jefferson deserves to have his faith commended as well. He's been a dedicated, lifelong Anglican, and yet an advocate for other Christian denominations. As you probably know, Mr. Jefferson has been placed on a committee of 3 to draft an official seal for our nation. In Jefferson's own words, he believes the seal should include a Bible account. The children of Israel in the wilderness, led by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night.
The story of Exodus. He sees God's leading in America's journey, like the journey of the children of Israel.
Yes. And he's not the only one. Many have seen God's hand in how far we've come thus far. Mr. Patrick Henry concurs. 3 millions of people, armed in the holy cause of liberty, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations and who will raise up to fight our battles for us.
Patrick Henry, great orator, that the last quote was from a speech that he gave in 1775. He was part of the Virginia legislature, which, interesting enough, the Virginia legislature was meeting in St. John's Church in Richmond. And that kind of blows people's mind today, but that was very common back then. And so he gave that great oration. Patrick Henry is known as probably the best orator among the Founding Fathers. What people don't know is where he learned his oratorical skills. And he learned it by going to church. There's a guy named Reverend Samuel Davies. This is one of the sermons of Samuel Davies. Samuel Davies is called the greatest pulpit orator in American history. As a young boy, Patrick Henry went to his church every Sunday, and on the way home, they would talk about the sermons. And Patrick Henry says, I learned my speaking abilities from listening to the sermons of
He said
Samuel.
that.
He said that.
There you go.